So this is interesting. How did the Harley-Davidson company express their corporate brand in such a way that inspired their customers to do this? All right, how did they get people to endure a tremendous amount of pain and put their corporate logo on their body forever? And really, how is that any different? How is that any different than doing something like this? Like, dude, I got my odor readers. Come on! Like, check it out. I saw. Tough guy. Yeah, I watch PBS. Right? So there's a term called primal branding, and this is how Harley-Davidson inspires people to put their corporate logos on their bodies. Primal branding asks, if we build emotional connections with brands, then how are our relationships with these any different than our relationships with these? These are all symbols of our belief systems. The things we know, the things we rally around, the things we form opinions about and cannot be budged. Primal branding looks at brands as a function of human belief systems. And it turns out that the way that we arrive at our beliefs about Gandhi is pretty much the same as the way that we arrive at our beliefs about Apple. I'm not saying that we love Gandhi and Apple in the same way, but the way that we believe about them is coded in the same way. So brands are really belief systems, and there are 7 principles of how human beings form belief systems. Principle 1 is the origin story. This is the fascinating and improbable how-to it came to be mythos. How did this great person step up to do something? Like Nike was started by a track coach who used his wife's waffle iron to make the soles of the shoes. UPS started with a 15-year-old and a bicycle. This is the exciting origin story. Like in comics, Superman was whisked away from a planet that was about to explode by his parents and sent to Earth. Origin story. Principle 2 is the creed. This is the thing that you believe in. It's not just a catchphrase or a tagline, but the thing that makes your existence essential. Like FedEx, we make the world smaller by getting packages to you overnight. Right? That didn't exist before FedEx. And Nike, just do it. It says that without this, the world is not the same place. 3, the icon. And this isn't just a picture, but the icon shows us, has an immediate sense, gives us an immediate sense of who you are. Like the smell of Cinnabons. When you walk through an airport concourse, that's the icon of Cinnabon. The shape of a VW Beetle, the chirp of your TiVo is your icon. The rituals. These are the repeated interactions that the public has with your company. Like your morning stop at Starbucks, or fans waiting in line for U2 tickets, or Harley-Davidson motorcycle rallies. Right? These are the things that people do over and over that indoctrinate them as part of a community. Sacred words. This is the special vocabulary that's just for the believers that help them to identify themselves as a group. The 6-inch cold cut combo honey oat, right? A Subway person knows that. The double tall skinny vanilla soy extra hot mocha latte. Those words did not exist before Starbucks. And of course, I couldn't get away without a Star Trek reference. The non-believers. It's very important to know who your community is by helping them identify who they are not. Right? People who drive Chevy trucks versus Ford trucks. We've all seen that. Calvin peeing on a Ford logo, right? Whole food shoppers versus raw food shoppers. Pepsi drinkers versus Coke drinkers. Principle 7, the inspiring leader. This is the larger-than-life figure who beat the odds, took the risk, and succeeded where many believed that they wouldn't. Like Richard Branson and Virgin Airlines, Oprah Winfrey, Russell Simmons, and Def Jam. Now, Apple is the best at primal branding. I mean, they took primal branding, they took the essence of primal branding and made it into an art form. So I want to show you how primal branding works. I'm going to run through the 7 principles that Apple used. First is the origin story. Apple was started by the two Steves in '76, both college dropouts. They sold their most valuable possessions, a van and a couple of calculators, and they raised money to start this company. And many of us know how they built the first Apple in Jobs' suburban garage. Right? That's this fascinating origin story. The second principle is the creed. Apple, we think different. We make a new kind of computer that will revolutionize the world. Jobs talked about putting a dent in the universe by creating insanely different experiences for their customers. The icon, the impact on our senses. That's the Macintosh startup sound, the Apple logo, the mouse, the smiling computer. Apple was the first computer, when you turned it on, it smiled at you. And if you remember, like DOS had just like a bunch of code that came up. Right? The Apple smiled at you. That was their icon. The rituals, clicking the mouse, downloading stuff from iTunes, lining up at the Apple store to buy the newest gadget. You can buy stuff online now, but people love to line up at Apple because it's part of the experience. It's part of what defines them as part of the Apple community. The sacred words, anything I. Apple has changed I. Mac, apps, the App Store. The non-believers. We all know who doesn't like Mac, right? Macs are hippies, are boring people. Windows users, these are the non-believers. These are the people that Apple users say, you're not part of my crowd. And 7, the inspiring leader. This is different than the origin story. This is, for Apple, it's when Steve Jobs was fired in '81, and the company was almost sold, and he came back and he created the iMac. He revolutionized music listening with the iPod. He built telecommunications with the iPhone. At the time of his death, Apple was the most successful company on the planet. What makes Apple a perfect brand? They never tried to convince us to buy their product. Instead, they created a culture for people who, like themselves, wanted to think different. Apple users aren't customers, they are a member of a community. And when someone buys an Apple, they're welcome into that exciting world that has its own set of rules, words, and its own style, and a leader who inspires everyone to their own greatness. That's part of what creates Apple as such a powerful company, and why Apple users are so connected to Apple. Why they're so determined to be a part of the Apple universe. Jobs said, we're here to put a dent in the universe, otherwise why else be here?